All right, guys, welcome to a very special edition of We Are Soccer. Today, we're talking about the news that was just released about 2.5 hours ago, the 2022 U.S. Men's National Team roster selection. Gregg Berhalter and his staff selected the 26-man team that is going to be competing for the U.S. in Qatar, which starts in 11 days. We're 11 days away. All right, some big snubs, some big surprises. We called one or two of them on our show on Sunday. We're going to jump in. It's just myself and our lovely friend Brooks. Brooks, hi. Buddy, this is the day. Yesterday was election day. Today is selection day. And for me, today's a bigger day. Anyway, politics aside, I don't give a shit about that. We're talking soccer. It's the world sport. All right, buddy. What you called Tim Ream. I'm going to tell everybody right off the bat. You called Tim Ream.
There you go.
You are the man.
Thank you.
You did call PFOC as well.
I did.
And oh man, I was keeping my fingers crossed. As soon as I heard Tim Ream was on there, I was like, oh man, Brooks is going to be right. He's going to be right. Yeah. PFOC's going to be in there.
Yeah.
No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But we did have some good selections. I don't know yet if I'm 100% happy with this team. What are your thoughts, buddy? What are your thoughts when you were watching the selection show earlier today?
Yeah, so I was driving and I was actually listening on Sirius XM-FC, and it was, it was broken up, and then they finally read over stuff, and you had to listen once or twice after when they kept repeating. But I thought it was a good selection of versatility. I think they are strong in the back. And with the two defensive mid spots, at least in the 6 and the 8, I think they lack a little bit of size going forward, but they do have speed and creativity. So I think this group is going to have a lot of off-the-ball movement, as we've seen. I think a lot of guys will be checking in centrally. I think the goal, I think, of the outside backs or wing backs, if they play a 3-back formation, is going to be to get the ball, to get them as high as they can to push the opponent's wingers back. Sure. And to combine and whip balls on the ground and see if we can get Sargent, with the run in the box, or Jordan Morris with the run in the box if he plays 9. Or I think that's it, because if they're whipping in balls to win headers and to score, besides set pieces, I think we're doing it wrong. So I think it's going to be a lot of quick 1-2 touch play, slipping players through and balls on the ground.
Keep the ball on the ground and play. All right, well, before we get any further, why don't we talk about the selection? Why don't we tell everybody? I'm sure most of our friends and fans and viewers have seen the names, but if you haven't, we're going to quickly run through them. All right, goalkeepers: Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, Matt Turner. You notice there's a name missing there, right? Zach Steffen. He's been the guy, at least up until the last couple of months, he's been the guy for the past year or so, and all of a sudden Matt Turner and Zach Steffen were vying back and forth. It looks like Zach Steffen has missed out. He has been inconsistent. He's moved away from Manchester City to try to get playing time. He came through a little bit of an injury as well, but I think he had some back issues a couple months ago. He hasn't made the squad. It looks like Gregg Berhalter is as he said after the selection today, he's leaning towards Matt Turner being his number 1, although Turner has a small injury himself. He was on the bench today for Arsenal's Carabao Cup loss to Brighton Hove Albion. Sean Johnson, NYFC goalkeeper. Ethan Horvath, Luton Town Championship goalkeeper, right? Getting a lot of playing time and playing okay. Brooks, goalkeepers, I don't think we called this. We didn't see this coming, but we had heard that possibly Zach Steffen, I think it was late Sunday, early Monday, as we heard that he wasn't going to be on the roster. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, what are you going to do when you went over to Man City and, like I said on Sunday, you're not playing? I mean, you got loaned out way too late to a championship team. You've been dealing with back injuries and other types of injuries, and I mean, you've only played a little bit. Turner took your spot. Sean Johnson's been playing really well for NYCFC, so I mean, it's not a shocker. And then Ethan Horvath had some good moments in Gold Cup and in other, and he's a third string and he's been playing. So, what can you say, to be honest with you?
I think, all right, so we're going to assume, as Greg said, provided that Matt Turner comes in healthy and is able to get over the little injury he has, he's going to be the number 1. He's our guy going forward. He's getting a lot better with his feet. He is a hell of a goalkeeper when he's come in and been called on for Arsenal. That's not it's something you can question. He's number 1. All right, who's number 2, though? Who do we think? Is it going to be Sean Johnson, or do we think it's going to be Ethan Horvath? I personally think it's going to be Ethan Horvath, even though he hasn't played too much, because Gregg, in his conference today at 5:30 after the selection show, said Ethan Horvath plays in England for Luton Town in the championship. He's played against a lot of the English and a lot of the Wales players. So if we had a number 2 and we had to need a number 2, I think it's going to be Ethan Horvath.
I don't know if my consensus number 1 is Matt Turner for me.
Wow. Well, who is then? You're going to go Sean Johnson, aren't you?
I think it's a toss-up between Turner and Sean Johnson.
Okay.
I think Ethan Horvath is there for the information he knows playing over there. And as I stated on Sunday, I don't think he's ready to be the full-time guy or to compete for the number 1 spot yet. But in the next cycle is very possible. I think if I'm Gregg Berhalter and what I see, I would let Johnson and Turner compete for that number 1 spot up until the first game. And Sean Johnson, maybe he'll get a game in the group play. You never know. Sometimes coaches do that. They'll play the backup in one game that maybe it suits the backup keeper a little better than the starter. So, Sean Johnson's been very good for NYCFC.
Yeah, I like where that's going. I see that. All right, why don't we get on to the defenders in the back? All right, Walker Zimmerman, he most likely will be a captain. If it's not him, it's going to be Pulisic. So we knew he was going to be there. Anthony Robinson, Jedi, we knew he was going to be there. Aaron Long, we knew he was going to be there. Serginho Dest, we knew he was going to be there.
Yep.
Here's where it comes a little bit of surprise. Cameron Carter-Vickers, been playing very well for Celtic.
Yep.
Not really surprised that he's there, because he should have been, but you never knew with Gregg Berhalter. So Cameron Carter-Vickers in. Good. Shaq Moore.
That was a surprise.
That was a surprise, because everybody expected Reggie Cannon to be there. It looks like Cannon's lost out, and Shaq Moore is in.
Yeah. Moore did play very well in the Gold Cup, and he has been playing for Nashville, and that was a good move for him to come back from Spain, where he's playing the 2nd or 3rd division, and he came back to America to play MLS, when he got starts in a wingback formation.
Yeah.
So I think that is where he will be used, if anything, as a wingback.
All right, interesting. I like it. So it's for versatility, because he can be more of a wingback compared to what Cannon could provide. All right, and you called this. Nate and I said this was not going to happen because he had not been in any of the last couple of camps. But here's Tim Ream, Fulham captain. You called it, Brooks. Yeah. Well done. Kudos to you, but honestly, it's just great to see Tim Ream in here. Again, captain of a Premiership team. How the hell were we going to leave that man out? It's so good to see him there, even if he doesn't play, which I think he's going to be the backup. I think it's going to be Long, and it's going to be Walker Zimmerman. Now they're in camp currently together, and they're going to have 10 days, Long and Zimmerman together, to form that partnership. Tim Ream is not there because he's currently in England, still fulfilling his duties with his club team, Fulham. And then DeAndre Yedlin, I think we all kind of assumed he was going to be there. We'll call him the old head at this point, the seniority in the back. Still has speed, still has some aggressiveness, can get up and down that wing, still a good defender, a good
wing
player.
Because he played that at Newcastle.
Exactly, a good wing back, currently plying his trade in the MLS for Inter Miami. And then comes Borussia Mönchengladbach defender, we did not expect.
I called him.
You did call it. We said maybe he'll be there. He should be there. And we all very happy he's there, Joe Scally. So Joseph Scally makes the squad. So let me go through that again. That's our defenders. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Serginho Dest, Aaron Long, Shaq Moore, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, Joe Scally, DeAndre Yedlin, and Walker Zimmerman. Brooks, in your opinion, did we miss out on anybody in the back? Who got snubbed? Are you happy with this group of defenders that Gregg and his staff picked?
I think, and Nate and I were chatting, I think all three of us agreed, if Chris Richards was healthy, he would be there instead of Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yep.
And Nate's chiming in here, and he thinks Zimmerman and Ream are your starters, in his opinion. And if you looked at the lineup they went with, this is the lineup that Nate was talking about on Sunday. If you're in it to win it, you just have to start Ream.
But again, there's a 10-day camp. Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long every single day get to watch video together, get to be on the practice field together under Gregg Berhalter's tutelage. So, agreed. I personally want Tim Ream in there, but I just don't see it happening in Game 1. We'll see, though. Sure. All right, let's move on to our midfielders. All right, this is where it gets a little, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, Brendan Aronson, agreed. Been playing very well for Leeds, deserves his spot in the team. Kellen Acosta, LAFC, now MLS Cup final champion, played very well, scored a goal. Kellen Acosta earns his place. Tyler Adams, Luca Del Torre. Now, he's not been playing for his club team.
Been injured.
He's been injured, and he's been riding the bench. They're saying injury. I'm hearing he's just not playing. So, okay, interesting there. Weston McKennie, we all expected him there. Yeah. Yunus Musa, we all expected him there. Christian Roldan, okay.
I thought he had a sports hernia. That's what I read. And then he had surgery, and I thought he wasn't going to be back in time for this. So that's interesting. But he did take like the last month and a half of the season off.
Right.
So
he must be doing something right in the camp he's at right now with the rest of the guys. Christian Roldan, to me, he may just be what we'll call a locker room type guy, there to hold everything together, good with everybody, can talk. I don't see him playing a ton of minutes. Roldan, do you see him playing a lot?
I would play him in front of any of the Torre.
Yeah, agreed. But your first three group matches,
I
don't see either one of those really being on the field unless you absolutely need it.
The beauty of Christian Roldan, and he's always played this in Seattle in his career, is he can play an outside back, a wing back if he needs to. He's a utility guy.
Mr. Versatile.
He's a versatile guy. You don't want to put Kellen Acosta, who has played an emergency right back at times. You don't want to put Kellen there. But he is Mr. Versatile, just kind of like Aronson's, like not as big of a Mr. Versatile, but he has some versatility playing out in the wing, can play 10, can play 8, can play, an inverted winger. Yeah. So for me, I think Roldan's a good pick. I still think I said the Jet should have been called in, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I thought Jet should have made it over Luca Del Torre. I don't like Luca Del Torre, how he plays. It's too slow. He doesn't turn enough. He's not physical enough. Yeah. At least the Jet has played in the EPL, and he's played against physical play, and he can actually, and he's a veteran too, that can help lead the team.
Agreed. I can't argue with that. I probably would have referred Leggett as well. I'm just not sold on Christian Roldan at this point. All right, let's move to the forwards. Here's where we get really, really interesting. I'm going to read them off, and then we'll go back through it. All right, Jesus Ferreira. He's been in the squad for the last year, in and around the squad. We knew he was going to be there. Jordan Morris.
Brooks called that one. Remember, it was a couple weeks, like last month or 2 months ago. I said he should be in there.
We're gonna go back and check the tape. We're gonna call, but this one blew my mind. This one blew my mind. It really did.
It doesn't for me though.
It doesn't for you.
Keep reading, and we'll go back to it.
All right, Christian Pulisic. We all expected him to be in the squad. Obviously, he's the face of this team. He is gonna be the captain. Him or Walker Zimmerman. Debatable which one. Toss up either way. He did play today in the Carabao Cup against Man City. Played okay. Missed, we'll call it a pretty good chance at a goal, but at least he got minutes. Gio Reyna, he's finally healthy. How many games he'll be healthy for, we don't know, but 19 years old, needed to be in this squad, even if he can only play for half of it because he's such a talented player. Josh Sargent, been playing very well for Norwich in the championship and putting the ball in the back of the net as well. He can play on the wing or play up top, so that I like that. Tim Weah. Obviously, Tim Weah, great player, has been around the squad for a couple of years now. Haji Wright.
I don't understand that one.
Out of nowhere, Haji Wright. Haji Wright. He's playing in Turkey, and from what I understand, he's playing okay, but there are players who are currently playing better than him who have now missed out. And I don't get it. This one, I thought there was some sort of mistake when it first appeared.
And like Nate and I were texting today as well. Haji Wright is, for me, it's easy. Pepe's better than him, and so is Pifak. Why is Pifak not in here? He's scoring for Union Berlin, as Nate has said every week on Bundesliga chat time. He's been scoring, and he's been facilitating and being involved in plays and getting assists. Yeah. Why is he not in? I know I was ragging on him. He missed that sitter against Mexico. I get that, but he has been in very good form, in a lot better form than Haji Wright. So I don't get that one.
You bring in Haji Wright when, like you said, there's two players who are clearly better.
Yeah.
Jordan Pifak playing for Union Berlin, who right now I think have slipped to second in the Bundesliga. He's been scoring goals. Right now I think in the last 2 weeks he's been through a little bit of a dip in form, but nothing that would worry me if he was in the squad. I was really hoping he would be in the squad. Okay, fine, he's not. Ricardo Pepi. again, he's gone on loan away from Augsburg to FC Groningen. And he's scoring goals again. You've had him in the squad for the last 2 years. Why all of a sudden now, if you dropped him, he is a very good hold-up player, in my opinion. He is actually a very good player to link the forwards and the midfielders together. He is someone you can aim for. He's big, he's tall, he's athletic. You can aim for him in the box when you need to cross the ball in. Is Haji Wright going to fulfill that? Because I don't think so. So for me, that is a huge miss. You don't have a real, true, tall number 9. I mean, maybe it's going to be Josh Sargent, but he's been playing on the wing for Norwich more often than not.
He's not big enough.
He's not big enough. He's not athletic enough.
But that's why.
Is that Haji Wright? But Haji Wright shouldn't even touch a field. He shouldn't be in this squad, let alone touch the field in the World Cup.
So Jesus Ferrer and Josh Sargent can come into the midfield a bit and connect the game, but they're not going to be a solid back-to-goal type of player.
Right.
That's where I think Jordan Morris comes in with his versatility. He's played up top with Rui Diaz at Seattle in the 3-5-2. He's played out in the wing. He's played inverted, and he's played on the left and the right side. He's played both winger positions.
Right.
So I think that's where Jordan Morris comes in. He's a target in the box on aerial balls. He's a guy who can sub in and can maybe make an impact, late in games. So for me, that's how I see Jordan Morris's impact. Another versatile player that can play all 3 positions up top. He adds a little something. If he needs to play 9, he can hold up the ball, play back to goal. You can combine off him. He can turn and run in behind. I think he offers a little more, and he can battle more with the bigger center backs he's going to go up against.
Sure. All right. Well, you, Brooks, so kindly have put together some formations for us. Why don't we jump into that real quick? We're not going to take up too much time tonight, but what we are going to do is we're going to look at some of the formations here. So we're going to go with a 4-3-3 that we're sitting on here, looking at our screen. I'm going to read it off. So you've got Robinson, Ream, Zimmerman, and Dest as your 4 in the back. In the middle, you've got Musa, Aronson, Adams. And then you've got Pulisic and Reyna out wide. Pulisic out left. Pulisic wide left, Reyna wide right, and Ferreira as your target for your 4-3-3. Walk us through that real quick.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, it's obvious. Dest and Robinson are good in a 4-back. I think you can play Robinson in a 3-back. But Dest, I think, is the best when he is in a 4-back, and then you put Shaq Moore or Yedlin when you're going to play a 3-back.
Sure.
It's got to be a natural left footer and Tim Ream going up, especially against England. I mean, he's played against all those guys, so he has to be. And then Zimmerman, so you got an aerial ball winner. You got 2. Ream was a good passer out of the back. Sean Johnson, big shot stopper. Adams for me is the 6, and everyone's probably, where's McKennie? I don't think he's better than, if you want the best players on the field, that's Yunus Musa, who's a better player than him. He does more going forward and turning and combining. Mustin McKennie is a little better version of Tyler Adams when you're considering if he can pick up the ball, turn, and play. He can cover ground like Tyler Adams, but to me, you want more guys that can play between the gaps and the lines, can pick up the game, can turn and play forward, and that's going to be Brendan Aronson and Yunus Musa. And Aronson can really move around a lot. It's obvious with Reyna and Pulisic, 2 creative guys, can play wide, can come inside the game, and Ferreira just gives you that player that can move in between the lines. He can run off the back shoulder of players. He's got a lot of movement in there.
Sure.
So.
All right, let's jump to the 3-4-3, which you've got here. In the back, you've got Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Zimmerman.
Yes.
And in the middle, you've got Robinson, Adams, Musa, and Shaq Moore. Then you've got Pulisic, Reyna, with Ferreira again up top as the lone striker, we'll say. Again, no Dest and no Weston McKennie in this, which is I don't know how often on the field in these games we're going to not see at least one of them on the field.
To me, I think if you're going to play this formation, again, Adams covers ground, but you need someone that's going to turn and play forward more in those 2, and Yunus Musa can cover ground. But to me, again, Dest I don't think is the best his wing as a wing back. I don't think that's his best position. Shaq Moore's a better player like that, or Yedlin. So for me, and I think Robinson can play that wing back position. He's a little more versatile. He can play wing back because he can get forward and he gets back to defend. I want a guy, if we're going to be up and down, that can then get back and defend, and that's not Serginho Dest. So, and for me, Carter Vickers is an athlete, is a ball winner. You can probably put him on the outside if you want to put Zimmerman in the middle. If you want maybe someone with a little better passer. But for me.
What about swapping Ream and Cameron Carter-Vickers there? So Ream's in the middle. Ream's the one who controls. He's got a little. I would say a little bit more experience.
Yeah, and he's not as exposed much
right.
out wide because that's what Berhalter was. You could switch that too.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's jump to your 4-2-3-1. In the back, Robinson, Ream, Zimmerman, and Dest. Yeah. Just above them, Musa and Adams. The three above them, Pulisic, Aronson in the middle, Reyna out wide right, and then Ferreira again as the lone striker.
Yeah.
Do you see this lineup being used at all in the World Cup by Gregg Berhalter?
I think Gregg has played it in Columbus. He's played different versions of it. He's a guy, and with this formation, you can tuck Reyna and Pulisic in. They've played like that before. Now they may come wide to inside a little more.
Yeah.
But again, I think he wants to shoot the outside backs, to be honest with you. He wants to get the outside backs forward. He wants service, and I think you can do this in this formation.
I think you're going to see this formation from Gregg Berhalter, but I think the one change I think he's going to make is he's going to have Weston McKennie instead of Brendan Aronson that you have here.
I think 10?
Yeah, he did this.
Really?
Yeah, he did this. He had Weston McKennie at the 10. Oh, what game was it? And it surprised everybody, and we went, that's not going to work, and it worked.
Yeah.
I forget what game it was. I'm going to go back and look, but it worked. And I thought Weston McKennie was actually the best player on the field because he got the ball so much. He wasn't able to hide, and trust me, it was a strange one. At the end of the game, I had to admit to myself, wow, I didn't think it was going to work, but it absolutely did. Yeah. So, but again, these are different teams compared to what we were playing in qualifying a couple months back within the last 2 years. All right, now let's jump to the 3-5-2 you got. Yeah. Your three in the back, again, Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Walker Zimmerman. Yeah. Then you've got your five in the middle. We'll start in the middle there. Adams, and above him, Aronson and Musa. Yeah. Robinson wide left, Yedlin wide right, Morris and Ferreira up top. One of the things I'm going to say right off the bat is you haven't put Captain America in there. So we're missing Christian Pulisic.
I don't think this suits him in a 3-5-2. That's why this is my last formation. I don't think they would touch this one.
Yeah.
Unless you put like Morris and Pulisic. I don't think this, unless you want to put him as a wingback, like with Yedlin. But that'd be talking crazy, right? Because this isn't Chelsea.
Right.
Right? So for me, again, Morris can play more of the hold-up back to goal, combine. Ferreira can move and run, but so can Morris. But Ferreira can drop into the midfield and find the game.
Yeah.
So, for me, Yedlin, Moore can intertwine and switch. Everyone's like, where's Joseph Scally if he plays? I think he's probably more of a four-back guy because I believe at Mönchengladbach they play a four-back.
Play a flat four, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, I like those lineups. You and I may differ a little bit on one player here or there on them, but besides that,
everyone's going to.
Overall, letting the roster selection sink in for the past, almost 3 hours now since it's been announced. I'm not feeling overwhelmed with confidence, we'll say, moving forward. I think there were some mistakes. I think we're going to struggle. This is a very defensive squad, in my opinion. We're going to struggle to score goals. And I think by not bringing PFOC and who's the other player we were just talking about? PFOC and
Legit?
No, who's the other player? I forget now. We're not going to score enough goals, in my opinion, and that's what's going to Pepe. Pepe, Ricardo Pepe, and PFOC. Those were two players I would have some confidence in, at least putting the ball in the net. I just don't see us doing it. I'm not filled with confidence. Now, what I will say is moving forward, it's time to. This is it. It's set. We're done. We can debate this all we want. Yep. Doesn't really matter. It's about focusing now and kind of supporting the team.
Yep.
So that'll be my final words. I mean, we can debate all we want. Should have come, shouldn't come, should have come, should have been here, should have at least been on the bench, whatever. We can debate the lineups. We can debate the formations that Gregg plays. But unfortunately, this is what we're with, and this is what we're going to have to go forward with. Brooks, overall, what are your thoughts on the squad? You happy? You confident? What's your thoughts, bud?
If he can put the right players in where it makes sense to what he wants to do and the tactics and the game planning against who he's playing, he can't be like, oh shit, I got it wrong in the first half. We're gonna make 3 different subs.
Right.
He's got to get it right from the start, which in the games he's failed at, he's not done.
Right.
So, I think this group offers creativity and versatility. There's not a lot of big name guys. You'll probably see more big name guys right in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a group, if everything is clicking and it's going well and they can solve problems when people try to man mark them or clog up the middle, if they can get it out wide and, keep and stay spaced and then combine and play, I think they can do some damage. They have some creative players, but it's going to take a lot of work.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, we're 12 days away from the U.S. men's national team versus Wales, game 1 for USA in the World Cup. 12 days. This team now has to come together in 12 days. We got to hope. A lot of them still have a game left, by the way. A lot of them still have games coming up this weekend in Europe that they're playing in. So we got to hope and pray that these players do not get hurt, do not pick up little injuries, and they are healthy and ready to go, and they can all get together and form some sort of team bond and really push forward. My goal for this World Cup is for us to get through the group stage. We got to get through this group stage.
Yeah.
If we don't get through the group stage, we're going to feel this massively in the soccer community here in the USA. We got to get through this group stage. We got to at least compete in the knockout rounds. But time will tell, and we'll see. We got 12 days. Guys, we'll be doing a lot for the World Cup. We'll be talking a lot in the World Cup. Jump in to the Facebook group, jump onto Twitter, jump onto wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Put your thoughts, what you think about this selection, what you think about how we're going to do, what you think get into Gregg's mind, what you think he's going to do, what you think he's thinking of these players and the formations. It'll be fun. All right, guys, we're out. Thanks for joining. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.